Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Nintendo Switch 2 was announced today from Nintendo, dropping a brand new trailer for their brand new system. And unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that it failed. It failed hard. And I know a lot of you are going to be shaking your head at that, but I really mean it. You know how much I love Nintendo Switch if you've ever watched this channel before, but the reveal for this was a big, big letdown. And I'm going to get into the whole thing. Let's watch through the trailer and I'll explain. So we open up with the Nintendo logo, and then we go into looking at the original Nintendo Switch. Strange choice, I think, because we obviously already have the Nintendo Switch, but I guess they just have to show that this is a sequel. So we see the paint and stuff be stripped away and the Joy-Con rails change and everything morphs into this Switch 2. We do see a couple of new features, new charging port on the top and bottom, a new kickstand, and really that's about it. So not really the most exciting reveal, just a 3D render of a tablet that you basically already own, essentially. And then the Joy-Con morph into the new Joy-Cons. I personally like the black colour with the coloured highlights because I am an adult, but I do think it definitely loses a bit of its vibrance from what we had on the original Switch. And then it morphs into looking at what we can assume is the mouse mode for the Joy-Con. And then they flick back and connect to the Switch with the Switch clicking sound. And then we get a really strange moment, a 2 appears on screen, and then we see the original Switch logo with a 2 written beside it, which is the new logo. Then another flash through of essentially the same thing, just showing the console again. And then it cuts to a clip of again what we can assume is Mario Kart 9, and then the Switch being put into a dock, which looks exactly like the original dock. And then yeah, it pops up at the end that the Switch 2 will be coming out in 2025. We then get a little bit of information about it being backwards compatible with Nintendo Switch games, which I guess is a good thing. And then we see that there will be a Nintendo Direct on the 4th of April, and then a world tour where they're going to take the Nintendo Switch around and let you get a hands-on with it. So why the disappointment? Well, it's a number of different factors, and I'm going to go through all of them and say what I think. First of all, it's just the general reveal and the whole atmosphere around it. I really think Nintendo could have and should have given us a different type of trailer, considering they've been sitting on this for a long time now and the leaks have been coming for literal months now. They've decided to put out a trailer that essentially shows us nothing new. We already knew everything, which takes away all of the hype. I watched this with my wife a couple of times and she's not a massive gamer, and she has said to me, this kind of just looks like the first one, and that really brought it home to me what other people are thinking about outside of the gaming space that aren't hardcore into it but may pick up a Switch for their kid. I don't think this trailer done enough to differentiate itself, to really show off any new features. It didn't have any of that Nintendo magic. The atmosphere around the trailer was just a real letdown with all those leaks, and to then not get anything really new or concrete from Nintendo that's in any way exciting was a real shame. Then we get on to the actual content itself and what they actually showed off, and really, as I said before, it's just a boring 3D render of a black tablet. Essentially, that's all we're looking at here. There isn't anything to get hyped about. Nothing new has happened. We already have a black tablet that they've given us 8 years ago nearly at this point. There's nothing new here. It's all just exactly the same. To your average person watching this, they'll just think that's already the thing we have. It's just nothing is new, nothing screams innovation. It's just not exciting in any way. The controllers even, I mentioned it earlier, but they're now muted, having them as just plain black with a little bit of a colour accent. Yes, I like that more as an adult, but it doesn't exactly scream excitement from Nintendo. I miss that magic. Having been there for the DS launch and seeing that it was a touchscreen, seeing that it was dual screen, that filled you with excitement, possibilities, what way could this work? The same with the 3DS, having 3D visuals, glasses free, it made you wonder. With the Wii, your motion controls, even with the Wii U, which they messed and botched up the launch of for that. I mean, you were at least excited because as a gamer, you knew the tablet controller was something different, maybe not as a general consumer, but at least the gamer knew. But with this Switch 2, even as a gamer or as a general consumer, I'm just looking at it, just going, it's a black tablet. There's nothing exciting, there's nothing innovative here that's really pushing things forward. We already have a ton of different handheld consoles, come tablets now, that can play games. It needs to be something new to get me excited personally, and to get gamers that are more casual excited. And while I know this system is going to have great Nintendo games, and that's why I buy Nintendo consoles at the end of the day, I just feel like the way they've shown this for the first time is a little bit lackluster. Getting on to my next point of contention here is the logo, and ever since the leaks came out for the logo, I have pretty much despised this logo. I don't think it looks good. It's the original Switch logo with a 2 slapped on it. It's not creative in any way. It's not an expression of something new and exciting. It looks lazy, really. And I know maybe they wanted to go for something more simple and keep the branding from the Switch 1. I'm assuming there's a massive team at Nintendo that's worked over this. And obviously they are a lot more intelligent and smarter at this than I am. But I just think, for my opinion, it's boring. It almost looks a bit strange as well. Just having the dock there with a big massive 2 on it looking at you across the living room. It's just not doing it for me. And then we'll move on to the dock itself, seeing I've brought it up. And I think this was a chance that Nintendo had to really differentiate this from the original Switch, to make it look like something a bit different. There were rumours that the dock might be a bit smaller, show off more of the screen, and that would have at least made it stand out somewhat. They could have maybe changed the colour, they could have drastically changed the shape, but essentially this looks like the Switch 1 dock with slightly rounded corners. The tablet looks like the Switch 1 tablet that's slightly bigger. The Joy-Con look like Switch 1 Joy-Cons that are slightly bigger and slightly more rounded. Everything looks very similar. And as a gamer, I look at it and go, well, this is just what I have with the Nintendo Switch, but everything's probably going to be a little bit better, and I'm happy with that. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy with getting a better Switch for the gameplay experience, but just as a way to show off a product, as a way to entice people in, I'm just not sure this is it. It all looks very similar to the first Switch, and I think Nintendo might have walked themselves into a problem they've had in the past with something like the Wii U, or even to some extent the 3DS, where consumers didn't really know it was the next evolution of the system. And I do think, unfortunately, the casuals, the grandparents and parents out there, the gamers that only pick up a system in around Christmas to play with their kids or family, they're not going to understand the full difference here. I really can see it. The logo's the same, the dock's the same, the tablet's the same, the Joy-Con look the same. I'm not getting it. I'm really not getting it from them. I'm going to save my biggest disappointment for the end, and that's going to be talking about what was probably Mario Kart 9 that we've seen. But before that, I want to touch on a bit of disappointment for me that, okay, isn't the biggest deal, but it's a bit disappointing. And that's that the next date that we're going to hear anything about this is going to be April. And it just seems like that's a fair bit away. We then have that world tour where it's going to go around and give everyone a chance to get a hands-on with it, which is great, but the dates for that go up until June. So this system's probably not going to be coming until June or July at the earliest. And again, that's another long wait between getting our hands on this system and having something new. And I was expecting the Switch 2 to come out a bit sooner, and that's probably just a me problem because I obviously want a new system and I want things to start running better, but it is disappointing that it's not coming any sooner. And then we get on to my biggest complaint probably of the lot, and that is Mario Kart 9 and the choice of showing that game off. I take you back to the Switch's announcement trailer, and it was so much more dynamic, so much more exciting. We were able to see people using the system, see it being used in different scenarios, and I guess we're used to that now, so they didn't necessarily need to show us that, but it was a lot more dynamic and a lot more fun to look at and watch as a consumer. We seen a lot of different games. We seen Breath of the Wild being shown off for the first time in handheld mode. That was really cool and impressive. We seen Mario Kart being played on a road trip journey. We seen Skyrim being played, so you were wondering, is that Skyrim, first of all, because it wasn't confirmed. And then that made you know, okay, third parties are involved. This is the kind of games it can run. That was exciting. And then we seen, of course, a new Splatoon, the new 3D Mario. A lot of excitement, a lot of things to get your teeth into. Here, they've chosen an announcement trailer with just one game, so that's pretty disappointing, considering we've had most of this console leaked. None of the features, the magnetic Joy-Con, the tablet, what it looks like, the color scheme, even the fact that Mario Kart 9 is coming was leaked. You know, it would have been nice to see a bit more of what's going on, because we're kind of in the dark about that, and yeah, it's just not that exciting, really. And then getting on to Mario Kart 9 itself, it's not exactly a graphical powerhouse, it's not showing off kind of anything new. Someone could easily have shown me that clip and said there's a new track's gone into Mario Kart 8, and without pausing it and sitting looking in and zooming into the character designs and seeing they're a little bit different, it could have passed for Mario Kart 8 for me. And while that's fine, and the game's probably going to be good, it'll probably have some new distinct gameplay features, and the new character designs will be great. It's just when you're showing off the system for the very first time, I'd have liked to have seen something a bit more impressive, a bit more wow, a bit more showy. This just seems very safe, very boring, and that's not what Nintendo is for me. They're new, they're innovative, they're fun, they're different. And I'm just not getting any of that from this trailer, unfortunately. Maybe I'm wrong, but you can sound off in the comments and let me know, but I just think this was a pretty poor showing in terms of showing us the Switch 2 for the very first time. Like I said, definitely let me know what your thoughts are below. I would love to hear if you like this, if you think I'm completely wrong or nuts. Let me know down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.